and we're just going to keep going. So I was just explaining there, this is called a hydrometer, this piece of kit here, and I stuck a lemon on it so that it wouldn't stab us in the back when I was walking down. So the lemon does not naturally belong in this habitat, so I'll make sure that I put it in my bag and that it can go away. So this hydrometer, what you do is you stick it in the ground, and I couldn't find a battery this morning, it's run out of power, so I can just show you like this. So what you would do is you would stick that in the ground, and when you switch it on, it would pass electricity between the two prongs, so the two really sharp bits there, and what you would find is that would be able to measure the amount of water in the soil. So I've done it on the path, but I could do it anywhere. So here, if I just move over a little bit, I can chuck it in there. It's a little bit easier to get in there because the ground's a bit softer there because it hasn't been compacted. So what that'll do is that will measure the amount of water that's in the soil. Now obviously plants need water to survive, and the amount of water that's available in the soil or in the habitat is an abiotic factor. Okay, so I've got my little keyword book here. I'll try not to press pause again, but what I've done is it's just like being in a lesson, but it's outdoors. So what we've got is we've got our ecosystem, which is everything taken into account in a particular area. We've got our population, so that's the number of any particular species. I hope this is useful. My hands are freezing, they're going to drop off any second. We've got the community, which is all of the living things interacting together. We've got biodiversity, so that's just the range, the number of different kinds of living things within a particular habitat. Now at the minute, because it's winter, if we have a look around, we've still got quite a few living things, but there's quite low biodiversity. Even the trees are still living, even if they haven't got their leaves. There's quite low biodiversity compared to a rainforest or compared to a coral reef, where you would have loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of different species. So we've got biodiversity. I can't flip my camera around, otherwise I would. We've got our habitat, so that is the place where plants and animals live. We've got our biotic and abiotic factors, so biotic, living things within a habitat, and abiotic, the factors that will aren't biological, they aren't living things that would affect a population. So we've got one there, which is the amount of water that's in the soil, and it might be another factor, might be the amount of water that that animals need that isn't in the soil, because they obviously need to drink as well. Now what I've also got in my handy little bag with baby Yoda, who is also not a native species, so I've brought him into the area, and if he stayed, he would be classed as an invasive species. But what I've got here is I have got a pH probe. So I've brought this along. I just handily had these at home, so I haven't had to go into school to pick them up. So this is a pH probe. So one of the things that will affect the distribution, so the spread out of plants, is the pH of the soil, and some plants will grow better in more acidic soil, and some plants will grow better in more alkaline soil. And what you can do is artificially in your garden, you can change the pH of the soil by adding chemicals, so you can grow particular types of plants. So it might be that you want to grow a particular kind of flower, and that flower grows best in an alkaline set of conditions. So what we've got there is we've got some chemicals that we can add to make it like that. So that's a pH probe. Now if I wanted to take the temperature of the environment, I could use a thermometer. So just a digital thermometer, they're really good. So I could collect some data, and what I could do is I could collect data over a period of days or a period of weeks, and I could analyze it to see what the changes were. Okay, so we get seasonal changes. So at the minute it's January, but it's coming up to February, and then we'll get into March when it becomes spring. So we would see that the habitat, the ecosystem here changes the longer that we go on. So the environmental factors will change, the abiotic factors will change across the season, so the temperature will go up in theory, and the amount of rainfall as we move into summer will probably go down a little, because this is the United Kingdom, we do get a lot of rain. So we've got those factors there. What else did I say that I was going to talk about when I set out to do this before? So we've got our biotic and our abiotic factors. We've got our distribution, so that's the spreading out of living things across a habitat. So what you'll see here is you'll see more grasses up towards the hill, and then as we come down gently towards the path, you'll see more kind of like shrubs, maybe some more nettles, and they'll all be influenced by the amount of water in the soil, and also by things like competition. So these plants here, right, they're probably tulips. They look like tulips. These plants here have risen above the level of the grass, so they're most likely to get sun, so they're going to be able to grow better than some of the grass that's underneath. Okay, and so this is just like the first in a series of videos that I'm going to take to explain about our ecology module. So I'm going to come out a couple of times a week, record some of these to share with you. If you've got any questions, what I'll do is I'll try and include the answers to those in some of these videos, so that it's like an interactive lesson, but outdoors. And my hand's about to fall off, but I think that just the key thing from me is that we think about today the distribution of plants and animals within a community, within a habitat. And there was one last thing I'm sure I wanted to cover. I'm just checking my notes. Look at this, like any teacher. So I've talked about that. Population change we talked about over the seasons, but what you would also see is you might also see that there is a change in the population if some outside influence comes in. So if somebody came in here and decided to chop down half the trees and build a house, then that would have an impact on the wider environment as well. We've also got pollution. We've also got, if there was particularly heavy rain, so the gully here, the gully that runs through the middle, collects a lot of rainwater that comes off the hill near where I live. So those kind of things can affect the type of plant that would grow in the bottom, because it would obviously need to be anchored pretty firmly. And at the minute there just seems to be lots of dead leaves because it's that time of year. But I was hoping to see a squirrel. We quite often get squirrels here, not wolves or anything like that. I have seen a fox once before, but that was on a night time. I think that was January. But so here we go. So this is all about our environment. It's all about like the things that go on. And then one of the things that we will look at, and it's really saddening that today in modern day society, we still get people who seem to think that it's perfectly okay to litter and leave rubbish and cans and like a great big polystyrene. That's not like somebody's accidentally dropped a sweet wrapper, that's somebody's deliberately left that. And you know, we get like broken glass and things like that, which is really unfortunate. But we'll have a look at environmental change and environmental impact of humans a little bit later on. But what we'll do in our next lesson is we'll talk about how we can be a bit more accurate in terms of our ability to work out the structure of an ecosystem, like a habitat like this. So the plants and animals that live here, but also our things like the just to remind you, the temperature, sorry, that was the thermometer one that I haven't got. So the pH and our water content, our hydrometer. Hydro just means water, so our hydrometer, which will measure the amount of water moisture in the soil that the plants can use. So I hope you found this useful. I'm sorry you broke into 3 bits. We were a bit separated there by me slipping over. Fortunately I didn't land on myself too badly, but yeah. And then when I was trying to show you the hydrometer as I was taking the lemon off the end, obviously we had a little accidental press of the pause button, so we'll try and get better. But at this point my hands are absolutely freezing. As you might be able to see, they're like kind of frozen, so I'm going to stop now. So you'll have had a chance to see these videos. What I'd like you to do now, year 11, is to go into Teams where I'll explain what today's activity is, and you'll have an opportunity to ask any questions, and we'll keep going from there. But I hope you're well. I hope you're all okay. While I'm out, I keep on stopping the camera over. While I'm out, I am going to pop and get some milk from me family, and I've got one of me many masks, so I'll be popping that on. So really just I hope you're all right, and just take care of yourself, and yous are all awesome. So just stay awesome, guys, okay? And I will see you next lesson. well, actually, I'll see you now because you'll be going back into Teams from YouTube where I'm going to upload this. So I'll see you straight away. Grab yourself a cuppa and we can talk about what we've been exploring here as a starting point to our modules on the environment and ecology, which is the study of the environment. Stay awesome, kids. Stay safe. Take care. And I'll see you soon.